let's talk about the horror that was the UnitedHealthcare CEO murder, Brian Thompson, killed by this guy, Luigi Mangione. It's so bizarre. This young guy, 26 years old, with everything in front of him, had the world at his fingertips, valedictorian, went to an Ivy League university, UPenn, got a master's, was never in trouble with the law before, like one minor traffic violation, something stupid. And now facing charges in New York of second-degree murder. Let's just start there. I'll stick with you on this, Arthur. Why second-degree murder instead of first-degree murder in New York?
Well, second-degree murder is the typical charge. First degree is for police officers, firefighters, EMT workers. I believe if you kill someone under 14 years old, if you execute someone who's going to be a witness in a case, there's very, very specific first-degree murder elements of a crime. When you just
can you still go to jail forever?
You can still go to well, I believe in first-degree murder, you can get life without parole. And murder in the second degree, it's 25 to life. The first-degree murder is very, very rare. Thank God. Actually, I'm just going to say this. This Friday will be the 10-year anniversary when Detective Ramos and Detective Lou were executed on the streets of New York, sitting in their police cars. That's a first-degree murder case.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, that was awful. Mark, let's say they call you up, Luigi Mangione, and I believe he's just hired Karen Agnifilo, the wife of Mark Agnifilo, who represented Keith Raniere in the Nexium case, who I interviewed when that whole thing was going down. He did not get Keith Raniere off. But in any event, so let's say he has second thoughts and he actually wants Mark Geragos. How do you defend Luigi Mangione?
Well, you're going to get mad at your booker for this. Mark Agnifilo's partner is a
Geragos.
Is a Geragos. Yes, my daughter.
It's your daughter, right? I'm not mad at my booker. She told me.
Okay. That firm also represents Diddy. So full disclosure, and I've represented Diddy for years. So full disclosure there.
I'm glad you put that at the end of this segment, Mark. Most people leave with the full disclosure. It's okay. You have the right to remain silent.
Well, if they hadn't turned off over penis cutting, then and they're still listening, this is their reward. I don't know, and I all I know, I haven't talked to Karen other than just briefly about it so far. She used to be of counsel to me before she went with her husband and Tenny. And I don't know if they are conceding that he is the shooter or not. Obviously, that's the first thing. They've got to see what the evidence is and what the prosecution has. I mean, as of right now, I believe he's still in Pennsylvania. I don't think I'm telling any secrets in that I think extradition will probably get waived and that they'll get to New York, and then they'll get the discovery, which is the package of information, and then they'll make a decision as to what's going to happen here. I will tell you that I'll be Captain Obvious here, that people have already assumed that he did it and that he did it for the reasons that have been kind of tapped into the public consciousness, which is that people have a lot of animus towards these healthcare companies and these insurance companies for the way that they treat people. I mean, it's amazing to me if you take a look at this act, which normally, if this was any other situation, people would be screaming. But within hours of this act, Aetna had to reverse the fact that they'd come out and said they weren't going to pay for anesthesia for the entire length of an operation, right? And they had to reverse that based on the kind of public outrage over this. I remember, I'll be like Arthur and talk about prior cases. Almost 20 years ago, I had a young lady or family where the Cigna would not pay for the liver transplant and claimed it was too experimental. And until we organized a protest in front of Cigna, they changed their mind, but it was too late. And this beautiful 17-year-old girl died. And we ended up trying to go after Cigna for that. And it was amazing to me. That became a kind of an issue in the then presidential election. There are are all kinds of public sentiment, and probably in a lot of cases, rightfully so, where if they embrace that and they go down that road, that jurors may say that there is some mental element that justifies that if in fact it turns out that he is the shooter.
What?
And I think you have to focus a little bit on...
Wait. When you say there may be some mental element that justifies it, are you talking about an insanity defense? Because that's the only mental element that would justify this.
No, I don't know that is the only mental element. I don't know enough about the facts. I don't know enough about the facts.
I'll tell you the facts. He murdered Brian Thompson. I think because he's a nutcase. I don't know that it's going to rise to an insanity defense. But the reason we know it's not some speculation is because he had a fucking explanation written down on his person right next to the gun that he used to shoot the man. This is not going to be a tough one. We don't need to pretend that this is like the JC situation. He is cooked.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would do, Megyn, is you order
save the
arraignments. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, just save the tape, Megyn, because
at arraignments, haven't been in this position before. I've represented someone who I don't know Luigi, but this guy, I got him the insanity defense without a trial. Prosecutors agreed. So you do what's called a 730 exam right at arraignments, which means when he's incarcerated, doctors who work for the city of New York and under the supervision of the judge examine him. And that examination isn't about his mental state at the time that the crime took place, but his mental state at that point to see whether he can represent himself, to see if he can help in his own defense. If a judge says, this kid doesn't even know that we're on the planet Earth, he thinks we're on Mars, he just gets warehoused and keeps getting evaluated until that happens. So he's not out on the street. He's in a facility with bars and chains. But then at times, if your expert finds that this person is so just really is not in touch with reality, you can then bring him into the DA's office. Their expert or experts evaluate that person, and they can agree to, all right, we're not going to put him in prison. We're going to put him in a hospital prison. And statistically speaking, this is why you don't usually want to do that. Statistically speaking, on murder cases, you spend more time incarcerated in a hospital prison than you do if you pled guilty to 22 years to life and you're up for parole at 22 and then at 24 and then at 26 and then at 28. Yes, you wind up spending more time incarcerated. A lot of these times, Megyn, they really are, I hate to use the word like crazy, but they are really crazy. Like it's scary.
John Hinckley Jr. got out.
After what, 40 years?
I'm just saying, like it wasn't a life sentence for him.
But at 25 to life, you usually get out at 30, 32, 35 years. So he was in there, John Hinckley Jr. was in there a very, very long time.
This guy, you're telling me Luigi could get out, he could get convicted and he could get out after 34 years?
Yes.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. This guy, how much more could you, tell him, are they used to prosecute cases? How much more could you ask for? You find the guy. He's got the gun on him. He's got a confession saying, let me save you the trouble. I didn't work with anybody. It was me, all me, and here's why I did it. You've got his fingerprints at the scene. You've got him on camera multiple times, and you've got the exact GPS of where he, look,
Mark started off with, do you come out and not lose credibility and admit that it was him right off the bat so you don't look like a fool, whereas his first lawyer in Pennsylvania is like, I've seen no evidence that it was him. Yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch. What's more scary to me is the people who look at him as a hero and people who are putting money in a GoFundMe for him and whatever. Some host on another television show when I was on tried to compare Luigi and the GoFundMe page and Daniel Penny, the guy who was just acquitted
CNN, we saw
on the subway. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. One guy, Luigi, plotted this thing out for a long, long time and executed someone. This Daniel Penny woke up one day and was heading from point A to point B and saw something he thought was going to be of tremendous danger, if not death, to somebody else.
For those of us holding our breath for the past several months as we came up to this election, we can finally exhale. Work can at last be done on the major issues this country's facing, one of the most significant being our national debt. The fact is, we're broke, and that debt is a house of cards for our nation that cannot be quickly dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. You might want to diversify your savings. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control, out of our president's control. So it can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Text MK to 989898 to get your free info kit. Plus, right now, you will receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle coin for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.